All right, guys, I want to welcome you to session 4. Today, we're going to be covering elements of an effective coaching call. Before I pull up the slides, I would love to start the call off by sharing some wins. So it can be anything that you guys are experiencing, anything you feel good about. Let's talk about some wins. Maybe you've got some things that you've been putting forth that you've been learning here, whether it be, asking questions that are more open-ended. Maybe you're focusing on, beginning to really coach and work with your people, which is so key to any successful business. So yeah, who would like to kick us off and share? Any wins? No.
Joan,
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of switching kind of companies. I'm keeping the account open at the other company, but moving forward due to many reasons. And I don't have a team. I've never had a team in any of my organizations. Most people who join wholesale are just joining for the product discount, not joining to promote.
Okay.
And so one of my things is really trying to find those people who are wanting to join for the business side of things. And so really honing in more back on my messaging that I'm putting out there as far as on social media. And I'm kind of in the middle of pivoting it all, but going back to really more since of my MS and creating messages that land with people who have MS and then maybe the ones that are really struggling financially and how a business can help them. So that's kind of where my focus is.
Hmm.
But I definitely understand the value of coaching. I did that with when I worked in corporate America, with all of my sales and marketing directors and doing that. And so I've just really had to like shift that mindset mentally from the in-person and the people that I know to the more of the global um, connecting with people I don't know.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Well, and guys, the skills that you're learning here, Marla, I'm glad you mentioned it. Whether you have a team or not, guys, these are skills that this will take you places, these coaching skills, right? The only way to build a six-figure income in network marketing, in my opinion, I suppose there's more than one way, but is really to build a team where you're training at one time, you're creating that relationship, you're partnering with the person, you're developing the person. And, these skills, this isn't easy to do. I think most people in network marketing want to, if you really were going to ask them, they want to have success quickly, they want to make money fast, they don't always want to do the work. And unfortunately, um, you know, partnering properly with people and helping them have success is the backbone or the root of network marketing. There isn't any comp plan I know of that you can move up to the top of the company on your own. Okay, it's all about developing team members. Now, I do not for a minute want to say to you guys, because I was involved with a company where they were so focused on sales and developing your customer pod that there were people, very few, but there were people that made six-figure incomes with their own sales. But I'm going to tell you what, they are working like dogs. And, what happens if something happens? They don't have anything else but themselves. That isn't what, when I think of freedom in network marketing, I'm looking at, and I'll just give you guys an example. Right now, Megan and I are building a business. And the first year when you're building, guys, it's a lot. There's a lot of short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. So even if right now you don't have the size of team you want or you're not where you want to be, these skills are what is going to help you build the team when you so decide or as you move along. Does that make sense? And Marla, the other thing, I know you've had some chats with Megan, but I also want to make sure that, if there's some additional help that you need with some content, please reach out because we're going to be happy to help you with that as well. Okay? Because I know, right now, I mean, you don't want to confuse your audience, but at the same time, you want to position it in a way where people know that there's actual opportunity because the majority of people aren't posting their company, which you shouldn't. They're not posting specifics about their offers, which you shouldn't. But that leaves us in a position of people potentially, and the majority of people, we're all so busy, you don't know what other people do unless you ask. So we have to
Yeah.
find ways to create curiosity to get people asking us, what is it that you do? Okay.
Well, and I haven't gone full on with this yet because I still have my other account open and they terminated a bunch of people. And
Oh,
so it's been kind of a wild
kind of
couple,
a
3 weeks.
little, yeah. Oh boy. All right. Well,
Yeah.
if you need to chat, look me up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys. Anybody else care to share a win or anything that's kind of exciting or happening in their world? Could be an aha moment before we dig in. Marlene. Hi, sweetie.
Hello.
Hi.
So, my win is that my and I probably need to make a call with you because I'm definitely having a problem with releasing the services that I do, my company as a healer, versus my network marketing company.
So kind of the blend of how to talk
Um,
about both or what?
well, No, me being more forward about the network marketing. Because when I am, yesterday I went and I met a gal and her daughter, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm totally down. I want to join your team. And I'm like, oh, well, I was coming as a healer.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well,
So,
let's book a call and let's have a chat because I hear what you're saying.
yeah.
And, um, I think that we can help you get some clarity around how to kind of present each one and what makes the most sense, what's not too much, what is too much. I notice sometimes when you have multiple offers, people get into like all of a sudden their whole page turns almost like offers in business. We want to stay away from that, right? We want to still create curiosity and we want to share a lot of stories, you
Mhm.
know, a lot of
Yeah.
stories. That's really the most, if you guys notice, if you go to social media, I'm sorry, if you go to Facebook, okay, Facebook is a social platform and it rewards social. It doesn't reward sales, right? Yes, Facebook has ads and it wants to keep people on the platform because of ads and all that stuff, you guys. But what you're going to recognize is, you know, when you're commenting 10, 15 minutes before, and when you're posting, and when you're sticking with the post, and when you're interacting as just a human being with your friends and family on Facebook, Facebook will reward you. The minute it sees links, the minute it goes down. So, yeah, let's have a chat. Okay, guys, let's dig into today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's pull this up. Well, maybe. Hang on a minute here. Thought I had my. There we go. Oh, maybe. Okay. Okay, guys. So I want to do a quick review. Where are we? No. Okay, let's do a quick review. So going back, session one, we talked all about really how to prioritize coaching, making room in our schedule, um, to partner right here with the right people and making room in our schedule, really understanding what coaching is, the importance of it, the difference between coaching and training. And then we come into how do we really identify those people? How do we identify the right people to partner with so that we're not, beating our heads against the walls or spinning our wheels? Um, that was session two. Session three was all about the art of asking questions. And what I want to share with you is, the best team builders that I know and the best recruiters that I know are people that know how to stay in connection and conversation with people by being interested in them. Okay, the minute that we shift to our agenda, right? I need a recruit, I need sales. There's a vibrational energy that shifts that starts kind of what I would call, oh, what would it be? Well, there's an energy that shifts from kind of this, you know, I need this. And that is a lower vibrational energy that operates in fear, right? Or lack. Where if we can focus on what can I do for you? How can I help you? I'm grateful for you. That keeps us in that high vibrational energy. So I like to think of myself as a problem solver. How can I help person A, B, C, or D solve their problems, right? So it does truly benefit you. And I hope you guys printed out those sheets that help you determine your team's whys. Use them for yourself first. That's the way I see it. Okay. All right. We're going to move in here to session four, elements of an effective coaching call. Now, I want to make sure I want to say one thing. Back here, part one, we're building relationships and we're developing people. Okay. Part two, we're building more leaders through coaching. Okay. So we're going to move on down and I want to talk a little bit. Wait a minute. Are we in session? Is this five? No. Oh, you guys, I think I pulled up the wrong one. I'm sorry. Hang on a minute. Jeez, Louisa. Oh boy. Yeah, I got the wrong one. Sorry, you guys. Just give me a minute. There we go. No. Okay. I think we got it. Let me come back here to my Zoom. All right. Okay, so you probably have your outlines out by now, but today, as we really dig deeper into the elements of an effective coaching call, um, I want you guys to think in terms of, um, you know, I've now identified the person that I want to work with. Now what I really need to do is develop my skills. So again, we went into the questions last week. We explored the who, what, when, where, We learn to never ask why. And now I want you to think of kind of each of these elements that we discussed last week as sort of a puzzle piece. So the first element that we're going or the first type of coaching that we're going to talk about is really one-on-one coaching. Now, sometimes you can coach one-on-one in a group setting. That certainly can happen. You know, you'll pull someone out and you'll begin helping them through a challenge. Um, and we'll talk a little bit more about group coaching at the end of today, but I want to start where the majority of you will start, which is really with a one-on-one coaching call. And what we're going to look at is how can we effectively make the most of our time with a person on our team that we've identified, whether it be a brand new person who's just getting started or whether it's somebody that is a builder. And we do it through um, really breaking down the call and being mindful of each of the elements that need to be addressed. So let's talk about the benefits first of following this structure. I want you to know that you will feel much more confident when you have a plan. In other words, if I'm picking up a call to talk to someone for 30 minutes and I have no idea what we're going to talk about, I have no idea where the person's at, what ends up happening, you guys, is I waste time. How many of you drop a one in the comments if you have ever been on a coaching call with someone and you don't really know where to start? You set this time up with them, you're not sure where to start, and you end up talking about, maybe their camping trip or something for the first 20 minutes. Drop a one in the comments if you've ever been in that position. Okay, yeah. Yep, it turns into almost more of a conversation versus a business call. And so we want to make sure that we are okay. We want to make sure that we're following a structure. So another benefit of the structure is it acts as a roadmap. It's going to help you keep in alignment with where you want to go. Okay, so it's a roadmap. The structure will help you manage your time, which is so important, and it will guide you and help you flow through the conversation. Okay, it also will support leader training. So as you're going through a 30-minute coaching call with someone, what do you think they're doing? They're learning by what you're teaching them as well. And one of the the best ways that I learned how to be a good coach was through hiring a good coach. And I copied and followed many of the things that she told me to do. And I had such an aha moment because I was working so hard with so many people, some of them the wrong people, and nearly pulling my hair out. So, we're going to break down first the time frame of the structure. And I mean, guys, this really, um, right now, the time column, it's really, really important. And you might have noticed, we're going to talk about this too, is there's 30-minute calls and there's 45-minute calls. So we'll just talk about really what's the difference. But right now, let's focus on this time structure. Okay, so the call timing. There's a 30-minute call, and this is more for an established coaching relationship. Okay, it's the person that's taking the next step. So it could be someone that you've already worked with, you've already helped them toward a rank advancement. Maybe they're working on developing leaders themselves. Maybe they're just stuck, but it's somebody that you know well. Okay, that's the 30-minute call. The 45-minute call, oh, and timing might feel a little tight, by the way, on a 30-minute call, which is all the more reason why we want to stay right on target with the timing. The 45-minute call is a new coaching relationship. So this is more for the person that is brand new, just coming into your team and you're getting to know them. You're really focused on getting to the heart of their why. And you guys have all of these tools in your toolbox, right? You've got all the questions that you can ask them to get to the heart of their why. Um, and you've also got how to identify them. I think there's three different tools. Also, this allows you time to not only get to know them, make that connection, but to uncover what's most important to them. And I typically allow on my schedule about an hour. So if I am, like I said, if I am, oh, what's the word I want to look for? If I've got an influx of recruits, let's say I recruit over 5 people in a month, um, then sometimes what I'll do is get all of those people on an onboarding call. Oh, speaking of onboarding, hang on an onboarding call and do some of the steps together. Okay. But what I don't do is I don't miss that first opportunity to make the connection with them and have a real conversation. Who knows why this would be so important? Why would this be so important to have that first initial call?
Well, it establishes the groundwork for where you're going in the future. I mean, you have that reference to go back to say, well, Joan, I remember you told me blah, blah, a month ago when we first talked. Has that changed in any way?
Okay.
Like
So
your actions have changed. So what's changed? I mean, that's what I'm really saying, but
yeah. So we're, let me go back though. So I'm going to first talk about the very first time when we meet someone, because I do agree with you, Lorraine, that, once I know someone, if we're meeting, there's going to be questions, as to why they are where they're at and all this. But the first initial meeting, the reason why it's so important, you guys, is because you're making a connection, you're establishing the relationship, and you're building trust. If you want to have team members stick around, you have to get to know them. People don't work for people that never give them the time of day. And I don't mean that in a rude way. But I hear all this, don't be a fool, send them to a tool. And maybe I've even said that before, but it doesn't mean I don't talk to them or I don't work with them. It's the opposite. It's send them to a tool, don't be a fool, so you can have time. If I recruited 4 people, I need 4 hours that month. If I don't have any systems in place, if I don't have any, you know, allotted time for coaching, then I'm just going to spin my wheels. I'm probably not going to get them launched. And I guarantee you, without a proper launch and a connection, you're going to lose them. Your retention goes down. Okay. All right. So let's look at, we just kind of went through how important sticking to these times are and the differences between a 30-minute and a 45-minute coaching call. Now let's look at kind of the objective. Okay. So the first objective is to connect, right? We don't want to just start a coaching call by digging in and being like, all right, Gina, we need to talk about your problem with bookings right now. No, we've got to take 5 minutes and just talk nothing about network marketing. Gina, catch me up. How was Thanksgiving? How you feeling, sweetie? But we have to notice it's non-business conversation, it's small talk. It will kick off the call in a positive way. It will open your client or team member up. Okay. The next thing is we want to talk about what specifically is going well. What were her wins? What is she excited about? This creates a positive energy and sets the tone for the rest of the call. It's the same reason why at the beginning, when I say to you guys, let's talk about the wins, let's celebrate some of the successes, because we want to start thinking about the good things. Is that a higher vibrational thing than thinking about the not so great things? Absolutely. And most times, without experience, people get on a phone call and they want to say, all right, Joan, I know you wanted to book a call with me about bookings. I just want to ask, what's going on? Why aren't you getting the bookings you got last month or something like that? Okay, that's not horrible to talk about that, but remember, we want to make the connection, right? We want to show them we're interested in them. Then we want to talk about what's going well and what's exciting, or, what specifically are they feeling good about before we ever get into the next piece, which it says, well, it says objections, but that's really supposed to be objectives. Anyway, and what this means are, what are the three areas, or what are the three things that you want to talk about today, right? And I use a coaching prep sheet, so I know what people are sending me and what they want to talk about. But if I didn't send the prep sheet, I'd be in a world of hurt. And again, we're going to talk about the prep sheet soon here. But the prep sheet, pardon me, the prep sheet is what allows you to know that they've taken the time to determine what they want to get most out of the call. Remember, guys, coaching is about them, it's not about me. So I want to know, what are those three areas that they want to cover, and which, maybe if they're, big areas, what's the most important thing to them. So we usually take about 10 minutes there. Okay, we'll talk about the challenges. What are some of the roadblocks or challenges that they're experiencing? And whenever I have a challenge, I always want to validate and thank somebody for sharing that with me. I want to begin using my open-ended questions, the who, what, when, where, how, so that I can understand them more before I ever offer a suggestion. Okay. And then the last thing is, what are the next steps? Now, depending on who the person is, if they're in a big amount of fear, I'm going to give them one or two, at the most, three things to do in between our next call. So, three action steps at the most. If they're not in fear and they seem to be getting it, I might say, hey, Marlene, you tell me, what are your next steps? What are you going to do in the next 24 hours? What are you going to do in the next, whatever it is? Okay. So those are the elements. And now we're going to break it down even a little tighter as we move through here, to the actual just connecting. And I kind of did go through this, but again, we're just going to talk candidly what's most important about this: light, friendly conversation, warming up the call. Remember that you're building a relationship, and this is what people forget. How many of you have ever found yourself uncomfortable to reach out and talk to somebody about their goals, let's say? How many of you, drop a 2 in the comments if that's ever felt uncomfortable on any level? You kind of feel like, oh, I don't know. I feel a little bit awkward. Like, maybe if I want to promote, it's making it all about me. Okay. All right. The reason why we tend to feel this way is because we maybe haven't made a strong enough connection. And that is not a put down to anybody here. I think the truth is, we can all get so darn busy, right, in our lives, and we're focused on, we're helping this customer and we're doing this. Sometimes team members can get sort of lost in the shuffle a little bit, or if we don't hear from them, we think we're doing okay. So remember, connecting is you reaching out, and it's building that relationship. We just want to connect for 5 minutes though. So if we've got like some chatty Cathys, you ever have that where you get somebody, all they want to do is just talk, and talk and talk. We got to be really mindful of our time, and it can become very difficult to keep sometimes that time in check. So I want to give you a way that I do this. I'll say to somebody, okay, gosh, you know what? I want to know all about you. Let's just take the first 5 minutes and give me an update. Where are you at? So they know it's 5 minutes, right? Or I might start the call by saying, guys, we have 30 minutes together. Now, I want you to know that I got your coaching prep sheet. I know exactly what you want to accomplish and where you want to go. Thank you for taking care of that. And I also want you to know I'm going to do us the service of keeping our call right on point so that we don't go over our 30 minutes today. Okay. All right, you guys, whoops, jeez. You guys already know a simple way. What's going on in your world today? Catch me up. What's going on? All right, celebrate. Again, starts the call in an upbeat tone, generates an extremely positive energy, and people will really look forward to sharing what's going well, especially if they know that, this is how you start your coaching call and that you're interested, right? You're interested in them and what's going on that they're excited about. Okay, we're only going to do 5 minutes here. It's just simple. Let's talk about what's going well. And oftentimes with my clients, people will share things that they've overcome. It's really important that we give people kudos for overcoming things because sometimes, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I have a gal on my team who she constantly tells me how shy she is. Oh, I'm just really shy. I'm really shy. And I realize she's using I'm really shy as kind of a way of not doing reach outs. And so I asked her, are you open to having a conversation around you being shy? And I said it in a maybe a little bit nicer way. And she said, oh, yeah. And I said, well, one of the things I wanted to ask you is who told you you were shy? And that caused her to really think, And she kind of revealed that it was actually her grandma. Her grandma, she would hide behind her grandma's skirt when she was prompted to speak to people and she didn't want to. She said, I didn't want to talk to people. So the fact that she didn't want to, she got labeled as what? Shy. When really she's just being a little shit kid. No, that's what I told her. We were laughing about it. But she goes, Joan, I never thought about that because her grandma let her get away with all kinds of things. And, that's probably what grandmas do. It's, I'm sure, what I do. But what her grandma didn't realize is by keeping keeping her kind of in the background and not letting her use her voice or just letting her just hide in her grandma's skirt, she's now a grown woman in her 50s thinking she's just shy. And it's affected her whole life. She had like a breakdown moment of crying, right? So these are things where we can celebrate that she's solved this. She's not shy. Like she said, I'm not really shy. I just thought I was shy, you know? Because why? Because someone told her she was. Okay. All right. Let's look at the objective of the call. And this is super important too. Now, if somebody puts down they want to go over recruiting, reach outs, and follow up, what would you say? Which one would be most important to you, or what is important about this to you? We want to get to the heart of what is most important to them right now. Which one of these areas do you want to cover today? Remember that when you're asking about what's most important to them, whether it be on the coaching prep sheet and you can see what they wrote, I'm often saying, all right, I'm going to pick up your sheet. Let's review it. I see here that you've got, these 3 things you want to leave the call with, but what's your number one thing? Where do you want to start? Okay, so it allows them to guide the focus of the conversation, but it keeps them invested in the coaching process. Now, you guys are learning the coaching process right now, but if I got on this call now as a trainer, it's my agenda, right? No matter what, when you're training people, that's your agenda. But when you're coaching people, that's their agenda. Okay. So if we're not talking about what they want to talk about, or maybe it's something I think they need, okay, that's going to be difficult because it's not about Joan. Does that make sense? We want to make sure we're focused on what they want. How much time? Usually 5 to 12 minutes. And I find that this part is where I sometimes, spend a little bit more time, or it eats over the 12 minutes because we're really getting clear on, the subjects that they want to focus on. So we already just went over what's most important to you today. Another way you could say it is, if you could paint a picture of your ideal life, what would that look like? This would be to a new person. We're talking about that right now. What are the 3 things you'd like to accomplish today? Okay. Oops. Of these, what's most important, I think is what it said. All right. Let's talk about the challenges. So, what is important about working through the challenges? Well, what we're doing, guys, is we're solving problems together, right? So it's not just Joan saying, here's the answer. We're actually doing it together. Write in the side of your notes, because I think this is important. What's important is, pardon me, gosh, you guys, I didn't get any sleep. I was up at 2:30 in the morning night before last, and today I woke up at 4 a.m. Jeez. So when we're problem solving together, there's a lot of things that are happening. And a few of the things, just so you know, that is happening is, it's not just my idea, right? It's her idea as well. We're also deepening our relationship. I want you to think about that for a minute. If we're working together or problem solving together, we're deepening our relationship. And we're working through roadblocks. The part that I wanted you guys to write down is, always ask questions before you give answers. So let's just pretend we were talking about, follow up, and, maybe the person's feeling a little bit uncomfortable. So I might say something like, all right, tell me, what would you say right now if you were going to send a message and follow up with a prospect? So see, what would you say now? I'm asking a question to be able to see how well is that person doing when it comes to her messaging. Sometimes you find that they're just fine. Sometimes you want to help them tweak it, but don't make the mistake of telling them, well, here's what you need to do. Okay? We want to talk about, all right, well, what have you thought about so far? It opens up the discussion, and in my opinion, you're really giving them the opportunity to think for themselves about possible options. How much time for a challenge is usually 5 to 15 minutes? Geez, hang on a minute. I get a little trigger happy on these. 5 to 15 minutes, and this is where you'll spend the majority of your time. Okay? Let's talk. Now, remember, I'm looking at her coaching prep sheet, so I might say something like, okay, let's talk a little bit about the challenges that you're facing right now. Powerful words to say are simply, tell me more. Could also say, where is it that you're getting stuck? What solutions have you thought about? See how we're really digging in with those who, what, where questions. So why? So that we can gain information, so that we actually know what to help them with and where to navigate from what angle. Okay. You also might ask people when they express some challenges, what could get in the way of you solving this? You know, what would be some reasons that we might not be able to work through this, if at all? All right, let's move on now to take action now. So important then when you're doing a coaching call that the coachee leaves with an action plan. How many times have you ever worked with someone on any level and it's like, okay, she needs to focus. Let's just pretend you realize, okay, I need to focus on blank, but you never walked away with an action plan. Maybe it was you. Maybe it was you were helping someone and you're like, oh gosh, I helped her solve the problem, but I never said what's the next indicated action or what's the next right action. So let's talk about why this is so important. First off, your goal with your coaching client is to ignite change. Okay, we're igniting change. Without action, the ideas are just ideas. So it's kind of like when you hear people say, well, there are a lot of talk, all talk and no action. Sometimes we experience that in network marketing. People talk a big game, then you go look and it's like, wow, they haven't really taken action. Okay, when a person chooses their action steps, they own their plan, which is why I will say most times, you tell me what would be the three next steps, or what are the three things you're going to do between our calls? And then if there's something maybe they left off, oh my God, or forgot, um, then I can make a suggestion. And I use those words. Hey, can I make a suggestion? Are you open to looking at this? All right.
Wait,
How
goes on
much?
this door handle right here. Hello?
Okay. How much action? How much time should we allow for action? Usually about 5 to 8 minutes. Okay. So when I'm on a coaching call, you guys, I have my phone nearby. I don't ever answer somebody else's text or anything like that. But what I do is I'm watching the time to make sure that I stay on track. Okay, what are three things you'll do to make this happen? When do you see yourself taking the first step? Now, you could even get even more specific. You could say, when in the next 48 hours do you see yourself? 24 hours? When today do you see, okay, you can get them really into action. I might say something like, okay, especially somebody that I know, maybe that hasn't gotten back to me or that, maybe they're super busy. I might say, hey, how are you going to hold yourself accountable to these three things? And how will you know that you're improving? Okay, these are really strong questions that will get your coachee thinking in a big way. What will you do to reward yourself along the way? You know, guys, just so you know, I learned a long time ago that it was so important to me um, to establish little wins along the way, rewarding myself along the way. I think I've told you guys, sometimes I'll say, like, tonight you can go get a filet over at Olive and Ivy if you do this, this, and this. Okay. You can go get your pedicure on Wednesday if these things are accomplished. Now, the truth is, I'm probably going to go do those things anyway, but I like to put little rewards and little mini kind of stints because personally, if I was to say, I'm going to work this hard for 1 year, that doesn't sound very appealing to me. But if I say, okay, I'm going to do this week, I'm going to do these things today, small rewards get me through the day, excited, happy, higher vibrational energy. And guess what? I have a sense of accomplishment when I know what I'm doing in order to reward myself, which is huge. All right. Now, guys, I want to talk a little bit about group coaching and how this works. It's very effective. Like I said, let's say you recruit a number of people. You want to get them all together, giving them one message. And typically, these people, how you could do group coaching might be in an onboarding, okay, where you're doing what I'd call a combination of coaching and training. You could also do group coaching when you're um, lining everybody up in your team for a rank promotion. Okay. It is the most efficient use of your time. So if you have people, and they don't have to be going toward the same goal, I'm going to actually share the way that I have moved teams, from really what I would call, less efficiency, meaning, I see the leader working with each person individually on the same goal, and not that you shouldn't do that. I mean, that's a good idea, but there's certain times where you can bring them together and do the coaching and training as one, and then, answer questions in the DMs individually, things like that. Okay? So, when I do group coaching, unless I was in person, which is rare, I would want to use Zoom always, because this allows me to observe, body language, see if they're getting it through their facial expressions. I also most likely will know who's doing well before the calls, especially if I'm observing the numbers, things like that. Um, when I started group coaching, you could also say, hey, I'd love to start out by your wins this week. Who wants to go first? Okay. Sometimes you get people that always want to go first. So I could say, who's the newest person here that would like to go first? Just different things like that. I'd like to hear from someone, that hasn't shared in the past, who would like to go first. All right. Other times you're going to ask the question of just one person. So let's say I knew that Marla recruited 3 people in her month of November. I might say, hey, Marla, what I'd love for you to do is share just how you did this in the month of November. Okay. So it's also a way of highlighting a team member. Whoop, I get right out of there. So, guys, before I wrap up here, because I'm going to close the slides down a minute. But I want you just to hear this. A clear vision backed by a definite plan gives you a tremendous feeling of confidence and personal power. And if you think about that, coaching is exactly that. You're helping somebody gain awareness and clarity. You're helping them define a strategy and a plan. And the confidence that they get and the personal power that they get is what will help them move forward truly and take action. So I want to open this up because coaching calls are so underutilized. People get on calls not as often as I'd like to see with their teams, but it's kind of like, okay, Tanya, what do we want to talk about today? Well, Tanya might be wanting to really dig into her problem, but and I'm talking about business, right? She might really want to talk about her, and I'm just going to throw, this isn't true, but let's say she was having a social media challenge or something. And I'm an inexperienced upline, and maybe I say something like, oh gosh, you know, it seems to me that your numbers I'm giving, this is all not true, Tanya. She's like, okay, Joan. I pick people that I know can take it or that I know really well. So anyway, but in her mind, she might be like, I just want Joan's help with the social media. Okay. I don't like, and then I say something like, oh gosh, it looks like your sales are down or something like that. Okay. That is the biggest turnoff to a coaching client because what is coaching? It's about Tanya. It's not about Joan. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. Sometimes I will have people, it's rare, but they're building a business and they don't know what they don't know. Meaning, maybe they don't realize that, and I'm just going to give another example. Maybe they don't realize that they're recruiting skills that they're really struggling in a certain area, but they haven't expressed to you that they feel frustrated. They just stopped recruiting. That happens all the time. Okay. Or they're just not recruiting because why? If I had somebody this morning, I forget who it was, but they told me, Joan, I can sell any product to anybody, but I can't recruit. Now, what does that tell me, you guys? It tells me that they don't understand that recruiting is just simply selling the business, right? Oh, Tanya, you're on mute. You can certainly come off. But guys, recruiting is simply selling the business. And the best way to sell the business is through stories. The best way to sell your product is through stories. I'm not talking about your stories on Facebook or Instagram. I'm talking about your story, right? Your personal, like, here's how it was. Here's where I was when I came into this company. Since then, here's what's transpired. Here's where I am today. That story drop, you know, just pretend it says like, drop, I don't even know what the word would be, but drop freedom. Okay. Well, that story is what's going to inspire someone to raise their hand. You guys with me? Now, this person didn't realize that recruiting is just sharing your excitement and satisfaction around what the business has done for you. And if you don't have a story like that, like Marla's smart enough businesswoman to know she'll borrow some stories until she's got a story. That's what we do. We do that when we start with a new network marketing company too, and you don't have the results. Okay, I have to share, and Tanya, I'm kind of putting you on the spot. Are you able to share if I ask something of you? Are you in a good place? I want to make sure she is. Okay. Tanya, what I would love for you to do, because you are an amazing recruiter. Tanya's had a lot of experience. She has a excellent following on social media. Many of her reels have went viral. Many of you know, and I'm just going to share this. Tanya has been in and out of the hospital with her, medical situation, and I have so much respect for this woman because she never complains. She's literally texting me, talking to me, doing her work from her hospital bed. And I'm sure in her case, she probably figures like, well, what the hell else am I going to do? But guys, that isn't the way I see it. I'm over here. I can run around. Tanya's not at that moment. She's not at that space right now. And yet, she is one of the most successful network marketing businesses that I've seen. Tanya, can you share? Oh,
Oh,
well, you do. Can you share, though, a little bit about your success when it comes to just recruiting and your business? I just want people to really hear because you've really nailed so many areas.
I would have to say that the biggest thing is consistency, like just showing up, right? And being in front of people's faces, whether it be sales in product or opportunity. And that's basically what recruiting is
Yeah.
just another sale, another um, product that you're offering. So whether it's a weight loss product that you have or an opportunity for someone. It's still just putting that product out there and giving them the opportunity and telling them, like for me, I do have a story of what it's done for me because I ended up in a wheelchair. I have MS, so I've been in a wheelchair, and yes, this year has been horrible. I've been in and out of hospital. Um, but I found myself in a place where I didn't know who I was anymore. Like all of a sudden, I was not this um, supervisor management position that was involved in so many community. Um, what am I trying to say? Community groups and stuff like that, and I didn't know who I was anymore. Like it took my identity. This has brought me purpose again. So I
Mhm.
do have that story, which
Yeah,
it does help, but that's kind of what you need to do. And I can just say, like if I can do it, anybody can. So
mhm.
finding that story, I think, is key, and just being consistent for sure.
Yeah. And I want to say real quick, Tanya, can you also, as we wrap up today, can you share with the group how you share your story? Because you do that amazingly as well. Just kind of give them an idea of what your journey looked like. That's really what it is. And she finds a way to put it in social.
I do, but I don't throw it out there in the face. Like, I don't want to be that one that is seen as being this disabled person. I do business first. It may come up, saying in the end of a post, just saying, if I can do this, anyone can do it. If I can do this from a wheelchair, anyone can do this. I don't, it's the, I don't lead with that,
Right.
but I just kind of added in there. But I mean, that could be anybody's story, right? Like whether you're a single mom or you're uh,
Right.
had you had $5 in your bank account or something like that. You don't have to lead with that, but you
Right.
just do say what it could do for someone or what it has done for someone else even, and then put in at the end, um like, I know this firsthand because this is what it did for me.
Yep, I love that. So guys, as we wrap up today, I know I wanted Tanya to share. We had a few more minutes. Thank you, by the way, Tanya. Really appreciate you sharing. And again, I love your energy. I love the way you show up for people. Um, but guys, as we recap today and thinking about really that time that you're talking with people, what I don't want anybody to miss is everything that I do system wise, automations wise, getting a skill down, whether it's my recruiting skills, my follow up skills, my coaching skills, my sales skills, my marketing skills, all of these things will never be more important than making a connection. Because if I can't make a connection with somebody, the skills don't matter. People, remember, the skills are your head, but what people buy is your heart. That's what they buy. They buy you, they buy your heart. And I want to say that everybody has a story. It doesn't have to be the story of, oh my God, it's choking me up so bad. Like my story started out, I was a single mom who just wanted more time. I mean, I could go into the woes of being a single mom, but that wasn't really the way I felt. But you know what's interesting? Today, I'm now a Gigi. In fact, my grandkids are going to be here at 1:15. And why do I still do what I do? Because I want freedom. I don't want to go work for anybody. I'm never going to do that. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but there's most likely I will not be doing that. Joan will be always working for herself. That's how much that freedom means to me. I'm willing to get up earlier in the morning, work whenever I want to work because I want freedom. That's part of my story. Now, has there been some real tear jerkers in the, yeah, we're all living life. But I want you guys to see that parts of your story are things like, what kind of kit did you come in on when you came in to your business? And why did you choose that kit? Someone I had the other day, they go, well, Joan, I didn't pick that kit and I really regret it. Say that. God, sorry, that got, I guess that put me right back up here on the map. Anyway, but that's what I mean. Say it. That's your story. You know what? I went in and I started with this one kit and I actually wished I would have got the other. And here's why, or at the time I didn't have the funds to invest in the larger kit and here's what I missed out on, but here's what I want you to know. That's part of the story. I hesitated for 2 weeks and gosh, I'm so glad that I finally said yes because here's what I've experienced. Or I said yes on a dime, not knowing a darn thing. I was so afraid I spent several trips to the bathroom. You guys, I've shared that on a live stage before. And people laugh and it keeps it that they feel like, oh my God, you felt that way. You had a stomach ache. Yeah, you can't just show up pretty and beautiful online all day long and think that that's what people relate to. I don't think anybody here is doing that per se, but there's a lot of people that, they want to get real presentable. They don't want to show their face. They want to do this. It's like, guys, people just want your authenticity. They just want your genuine heart. They just want to feel connected. And I 100% agree. Tanya's had a lot of success. I mean, for a lot of reasons, but consistency and showing up, people just seeing you're open for business, you're there. So, all right, guys. Well, I am hoping that you are, practicing these skills and starting to make time to work with people and practice using the sheets I give you. These sheets are so valuable to you developing a 6 and 7 figure team. And what I want you to know is I use these on a daily, I mean, these are what I do. This is how I've built teams. I'm on my fifth one. And it works when you work it. But I can also fall into some habits of what I call like quick impromptu coaching, right? You know? So we have to get on the phone. We've got to get on Zooms. We have to have real connections in order to be able to help people. And I know next week we're going to be talking about how to really ignite urgency within your team members or your coaching clients. And I think you'll really appreciate that because that will also help you get them into action much more quickly. Okay. All right, guys. Any questions? I know we're a little bit over. Any questions before I bop out of here today? Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. I love you so much. Bets, I know I'm doing a training for you and your team tonight. I'm excited about that. You have my Zoom link, right?
Yep, we're very excited about it too. I can't wait. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. So, anybody else that wants to book a team time with me, I want you to feel free to do that. We're going to end this call. Megan, sorry, we'll come right back. All right, you guys, have a beautiful day.
You
Bye.
too. Bye, Joan. Thank
Bye,
you.
Bye, sweetie. Bye, Marlene. Bye,
You.
guys. Bye, Tanya. Bye, Lorraine. Bye, Lori. Bye, Allison.